This is John Walton, and you're listening to the Power Play Point Podcast with the Blue Liner on Point and Anna Knox. Here's Wilson, and on the right circle, he scores!
Rebound loose, wild scramble in front, score! Ovechkin with a buzzer beater! It'll count!
And a hat trick tonight, number 21,
Spectacular! Braden Holtby!
Hello and welcome once again to the Power Play Point Podcast. This is your host, the Blue Liner on Point, talking to you live to tape from my humble abode in downtown Glen Burnie, Maryland, where we're no longer digging out too much from the snow, but we're still dealing with some of the white stuff. And it's 40% gone, so it's not that bad of a hazard, but still there, still to be dealt with. Pardon me. And it made this past week fun. With me to cover the 4 games played this week is, of course, the one and only mermaid, live to tape from Centerville, Virginia. Herself is the mermaid Anna Knox. Hello.
Hello. Happy Sunday, girl.
Yeah, happy Sunday, and it's full of happy Sunday if you've got a football team in the playoffs still alive.
Right.
So Commanders fans, it's pull together, and my Ravens pulled out a win last night. So
Alright.
always good when a Pittsburgh team gets eliminated.
Yes. Right. But now
our new friend
I
Mike
need
not going to
a
appreciate
Philly
that.
team to be eliminated today. I can't stand
Yeah,
it.
that'd be nice.
Right.
That would be nice.
Yes. So we're all, back from extended winter break with the snow, and it was good. And I saw my students after, being away for almost 3 weeks, and that was a little crazy because everyone wants to talk at once and tell me everything they did over break and then everything they did after break, and did I know it was snowing, and all that fun stuff. And they were all in a great space, and I was like, well, we had a 2-hour delay, like that's okay on a Friday. And then as the day went on, it was a little bit more like, I'm kind of tired, I'm a little hungry, I'm a little this. I'm like, yeah, wait till Monday. It's a full week next week. So but yeah, we're all getting back into the grind starting tomorrow.
Yeah, I had all of 2 days off completely, sort of. I have it so that since I'm tech, I have it so that emails come straight to my phone.
Right.
Everybody has my number, so but wasn't too bad. I think everybody took advantage of the extra time, and then Wednesday rolled around and everything started clearing up, and it's like, okay, well, come on in late, and then
Yeah.
like coming in on time, and like the snow magically disappears.
Right.
Heaven and earth willing, we hope hopefully never ever have to see it again for another year, but who knows?
There
Who
you go.
knows? So besides the white stuff, plenty of winter action on the ice, of course, concerning our Caps, but 2 non-hockey things want to get involved here. Want to talk about here. Want to and need to. And the first is, of course, we have to say something. It's definitely not Caps related. It's a little bit hockey related, in that affected one of the 32 teams. And that's, of course, the wildfires going on in Southern California, specifically LA County. I think there's actually 4 or 5 different wildfires in that area, some of which are contained right now, but One in the I think that's the one in the Palisades area is still they're still fighting that. And, um, thank goodness for all of the responders and all that they do. Want to thank them, of course. But we got to mention it because it's it's part of the community, and it's also for me personally. Someone I met through Robbie, Dave Medina, who we were all on together um, on Robbie's show. He has the Twitch channel Davey's Eating a Sandwich. He's out in that area. Now, fortunately, he was able to escape any major damage, and he's out of the area for the time being, thank goodness. But um, he is for the most part, property wise, he's fine. Health wise, he's definitely fine. So that's good news. A lot of people, unfortunately, though, not so lucky. And Anna, I understand you have a bit of a connection there as well.
I do. I do. Well, I lived in Culver City. Um, After, growing up in the Bay Area, I moved to Culver City in 1998 and had an opportunity to work at a center, which they called for students at the time who were, struggling with public school and may have been kicked out. And so while I was there in 2004, a bunch of us were able to attend classes at our school for a master's program in special education. And all of the people who were in the class, we were all teachers at the school and, looking towards, getting credentialed. And we had one person who attended who was a parent of an autistic student, an autistic child, or a student with autism, or a child with autism, I'll say.
Mhm.
And he wanted to attend the classes to better understand what it was like as for teachers, to what was like for us, but also to help relate to his son more. And I was never more blown away by Phil in attending these classes. He did all the classes with us. And while he did this, he was sort of like, oh yeah, I'm like this little magician, and oh, I'm this and I'm that. And it eventually came out that he was an actor. And all of us were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Are you in anything that we know, kind of thing? And he was always, he was in stuff and he was very popular, but, like little thing here and there and little thing here and there. And our big celebration towards our graduation, finishing our master's, was that Phil Abrams was in the Friends episode where Monica and Chandler get married. And all of us went home that night and we're like, oh my God, we got to watch, Phil, and he's there. And all of a sudden, like after that, he's just been everywhere. And you can what is it? IMDb,
IMDb. Mm-hmm.
yeah, Phil Abrams. And this guy has a heart of gold. He supports his wife, who is absolutely amazing. His son is absolutely phenomenal artist, and he's just been a salt of the earth guy from day one. And he lived in Pacific Palisades, and he let us all know on Facebook that he did lose his house.
Oh,
And his son, who I said, is autistic, is having a hard time understanding this and processing this, which my heart goes out to. So he's been very open on Facebook about feeling and just that rawness that comes with something like this huge tragedy. Then he found out that his childhood home was also gone. So I've been following him and supporting him. And even after all these years, I mean, it's been 20 years. I see him on commercials and I see him in TV shows, and I could not be prouder to have known him as he never came into our classes like, oh, I'm, this actor, this whatever. He came in like, I'm a parent of a child with autism and I want to know how I can connect with them. And I will never ever forget that. So when I read his stories now, it really hit home. So like my dedication to this show, for all the people in LA, but and that heartfelt moment for Phil Abrams and his family, definitely closer, feeling close, feeling all the feels when I think about him and his family and what happened.
Certainly, certainly. And yeah, just it's not just loss of life, but loss of property. And like you said, especially if it's a childhood home or a you know, place where you've grown up and lived a good chunk of your life, if not all of your
Right,
life, it's easy to say, oh, you can rebuild and there's insurance to make you whole. Well, it's not always that easy, you
right,
know,
right.
and it's yeah, it's something that can be replaced, but it's not always easy, and it's very traumatic to go through something like that. And
Yeah,
God
and
forbid any of us, you know,
exactly. And they're really just like when I think people immediately are like, no, you'll just rebuild and it'll be better. There is that like sense of like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I don't know what to say, I just want to make everything better. um and then of course all of us feel helpless. I'm like, how do you help somebody be like, oh my gosh, you lost everything, and there's no gift card or any monetary value except listen. But it's just like it is insane to see these drone shots, knowing that I was not far from there, and I'm assuming everybody in the Culver City area had evacuated, as my best friend did from Pasadena, and thank God they're safe. So yeah, and of course I'm like huge. All my money is going towards animal rescue at this point. So hopefully people will feel generous and help that.
yes, and so speaking of that, there is the Red Cross is taking donations
Yes.
to to assist those who've been affected. And I'm sure there's various GoFundMe pages for individuals who've been affected as well. Um, we'll be definitely posting the Red Cross donation link on the show notes,
Hmm.
so there will be there's definitely that. So yeah, just again, what they're the LA Kings, yeah, they're part of the hockey community, and there's others out there that are part of the podcast community, and that we know through just living life, that are out there that whose story needs to be told. That's part of why we're here. So it had to be it had to be said. It had to be talked about, I think. So if you're wondering why we put that out there, well, that's why, because somebody needs to say it, and we're just the people that happen to do that because people are important to us. So.
Absolutely. And we're human.
And I swear to goodness, we're not trying to drag everybody down, but there's also another story that came up that we have to make mention. We're going to try and put as much of a sunny spin on it as we can, though, because the person that's affected wants nothing more than that. And we're talking about, of course, Craig Lachlan, our one and only Locker, who does the color commentary alongside Joe Beninati on the Monumental Sports broadcasts. And in case you did not happen to get the full announcement, he made the announcement at intermission one of the games this week that he will be having he'll be undergoing open heart surgery, and specifically it is to repair a bicuspid aortic valve, which is, he says, it's a congenital heart condition. So meaning that he's actually been dealing with it all of his life, And that was, of course, why he missed those 3 games earlier in the month, to examine that, give a plan of attack from his doctors, and now they realize, okay, this can't be ignored any longer. Need to repair it. Need to get deal with it somehow, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to be missing, well, for the foreseeable future anyway, the rest of the games this season. Now, he said, and this is a quote from him, he is going to try his damnedest to get back in time for the playoffs. So, and he didn't say it in so many words, but it sounds to me like he does not want anybody to feel sorry for him.
Right.
He wants the most positive vibes that you can give him, which is great. And I think that's all the energy we can muster right now is anything positive, towards him and helping him getting through it. He's just the kind of guy. He's the kind of guy who just does nothing but feel the love. And I got to, thank goodness, experience that personally when I met him at the Firm Brewery early last year at an event for the Laughlin Family Foundation to fight rare cancers. I told the story before. I'm going to quickly tell it again. He, of course, was the guest of honor. Is at the Firm Brewery in Crofton, Maryland, which is near where I grew up. And I was sitting there with some friends, and I wasn't sure whether or not to approach him. And I was talking with Linda, and she was telling me about her what it took to just organize the foundation. And and I just casually mentioned I had a podcast, and she was like, "Oh, well, let's tell me about that." And I kind of mumbled, "Well, we're we're a little community, but we're tight knit with fans, and some of them happen to have gone through cancer, know a lot of people that have gone through cancer, so that's why I'm here. You're an inspiration." She said, "Oh, great, fine." And I don't know how I managed to summon up the words, but I kind of finally got up the courage to say, "Well, Linda, would it be too much to for me to meet your husband, have a couple minutes with him? It would mean a whole lot to our listeners." And she said, "Oh, sure." And she hobbled down, and Courtney was there too, and we met, and I couldn't see, there was a whole lot of noise. I couldn't hear what Linda said to him, but Craig, I just remember Craig's face lighting up, and he took one look at me, threw his arm around me, and said, "Hey, buddy, I love what you do. Thank you so much. You're great for what you do." And I'll post the pictures again, but yeah, I got some pictures with him and Linda and Courtney, and he just could not have been greater, could not have made me feel more welcome. And that's
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
who he is. It's who he
Yeah.
is and how he is. So I think it's the least we can do to send the love back and wish him nothing but a speedy recovery. And he's kept up. He's in decent shape for a man his age. So he went through a punishing career as a hockey player, but he's in pretty decent shape.
Yeah.
So I for one have no doubt he's gonna beat this, and he's gonna come back, as he says, stronger than ever. And
Yeah.
I do expect him to see him come playoff time back in the booth with Joe B.
100%. And like I said before the show, we are going to ride the locker wave of positivity for him because he exudes it. He's got a sense of humor. He is so family oriented and everything. And now it's just time to be like, okay, I got to step back and do what's okay, what's right for me at this time, and nothing but happy, healthy vibes to Craig and his family, of course.
Absolutely. So yeah, just wanted to do what little we can to put the positive energy out there. Thoughts and prayers, of course, from our little corner of the Caps fan universe, and just let Locker know, hey, we're behind you. We're in your corner, and we hope to see you back in the booth very, very soon, doing what you do best. So, all right. So on to the hockey. There were 4 games. Okay, so it's no secret that Caps have been having a tough time of it. And if you look at these 4 games, they followed pretty much the same pattern. We usually key on one game. I'm not going to do that this week because, frankly, one of them was boring as all hell to watch. Another one, the result was just, I can't think of any other words, fucking atrocious the way it ended. And that happens to be the first game. Now, one of them, the last one they did win outright. But let's just kind of zip through this.
Yep.
All right, because we have to do our due diligence in going over what actually happened. Okay, and that of course means the scoring summary. So, first game was, I believe it was Monday against the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo, and all right. So 4:42 in the first period. Alex Tuck, his 13th. JJ Paterka with the assist. Although I think they're giving it to Tuck. I think it was Paterka's goal. It really doesn't matter. It was a busted play. They had a clear shot. It hit something, and it happened to go in. So just one of those
Annoying.
annoying,
Not how we
fluky,
needed to start, and especially not with either one of those names.
very bad way to start the game, of course. But yeah, Lindgren had no chance on it. So yeah, so 1-0. But a couple minutes later, Caps get a power play, and guess who? Tom Wilson doing Tom Wilson and TJ Oshie things, as I've been saying for a while now. His 17th. 17th of the season. Chychrun and Strome with the assist on that one. That was at 6:10, so tie game there. Second period went to Alex Tuck again. Getting tired of saying his name.
Tired of saying his name, tired of looking at his face over it.
1 minute, 7 seconds into the second period. Stop me if you've heard that before. So again, within 2 minutes of the very next period, second period has been a big bugaboo for this team, more so than ever. And then that man again, Tom Wilson, ties it at 10 minutes later with his 18th. Protas and Carlson on the assist for that one. That was at 11:29. Okay, so we're thinking back and forth battle here. All right, fine. Sabres get another power play of their own. This time, Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, and Paterka on the assist for that one at 12:49. So about just over a minute later. So Caps behind again. They looked like they were going to lose in regulation. Then Alexei Protas got a lucky bounce goal of his own, his 18th. Carlson and Dubois on the assist on that one. So 2 overtime we go. That was a big fat pile of nothing. And then, of course, it ended in the shootout. And the one rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. Same applies to shootout. We're not going to talk about that, especially if you lose. And that's what happened here.
So moving on to Vancouver.
Moving on to Vancouver, but real quick, 6, 9, 10 shots per period, Caps. Wasn't a bad game. Wasn't a good game either. When you consider this team is a last place team, they should have done better. But, I mean, I was okay with getting a point, but
not how we should have started this 4-game streak.
No, not a good start to the week overall. No. Okay, and then it was back home to Cap 1. And then it was a game against Vancouver Canucks, and as we mentioned last week, they had been having problems of their own. Yeah. Okay. Well, Here is my impression of what our house sounded like for the majority of the game.
We get it.
That was pretty much what happened here, at
Yes.
least, and I'm sure all of the other households watching that game reacted the same way. Until, that is, and ironically enough, it happened during the magical McNugget minute
Mm.
at 1927 of the first
favorite.
period. Yep, at 1927 of the first period, Pierre-Luc Dubois, his sixth. Roy and McMichael on the assist for that one, staked the Caps to a 1-0 lead. And I don't know if Vancouver does a McNugget minute of their own, but they have. They scored a last-minute goal of their own in the next period, 1923, on the power play. Connor Garland left all alone on the power play. Sherwood and Quinn Hughes on the assist on that one. So tie game all the way through the third period. More of that. And until 41 seconds left in the overtime period, Alexei Protas grabs the puck, charges the net, or so it seemed, and then he does a ring around the rosy, and he takes the 3 Vancouver players with him because it's 3-on-3 in overtime. And he's like, "Oh, okay, you're with me. There's all this open ice." Guess who was in all the open ice in front of the net by himself? Pierre-Luc Dubois again. Have a game, PLD. And he ended it. 2-1 win for the Caps. But like I said, or didn't have to say, because it's a snooze fest. And it was. Oh, my goodness. This was painful to watch.
It was painful.
Here's going to be something more painful to hear. Second period shots on goal.
Yes. 5.
For the Caps. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. You want to know how many Vancouver got in that period? 21. 21. What in the blue fucking hell?
Yeah, this if you showed me the stats, shots on goal just alone, and maybe power play, and then said, but the Caps won, I'd be like, no fucking way.
I mean,
really, 5.
Yeah,
5.
well, yeah, as in $5 foot long. Yeah, as in 5 fingers on a hand. Yeah, that same 5. I thought the worst was when they had that 5-minute power play against Boston.
Right.
In December.
Yeah.
And didn't get a shot on goal. This is worse.
100%, because this is 5 and 20.
You out there on the other side of the earbuds, the speakers, what have you, I get it. You don't want to hear complaining about the team. But this has to be pointed out. This was embarrassing. This is nowhere near what this team is capable of.
No.
And this is bag skate worthy right here. Okay.
Well, and it wasn't back to back. It wasn't just coming off a break, like all the excuses that usually we hear. Come on, we're coming off a loss to a team that's not that great. and we couldn't come in. I mean, yes, we came in. Yes, we won, but the game overall sucked. I mean, it was an awful game.
Yeah, and
Sorry,
thank goodness,
PLD, but it was.
thank goodness. Well, thank goodness for PLD and for Logan Thompson, who between the two, they're the ones that saved the game
Right.
for the Caps. If you think about it, because everybody else was ass.
Yep.
Spencer Carberry never sugarcoats it. Why should we? Well, anyway, that's the one stat I had to point out from that game. So on to the next one, which was Friday night, still home against Montreal. Now, Montreal, as we mentioned last week, not great overall, but they've been riding, I don't know about a win streak, but they'd won like 8 out of their last 10.
Right.
So they were pretty hot going into this game. So they always play the Caps tough, always. And this one was this game was no different. Not in the least. So let's all right, let's do the scoring summary from beginning to end here. Caps get a power play about a couple minutes in, and Jacob Chikrin, of course, as he's been doing, nice little snapper, his 12th to open the scoring. Caps held on to the lead for the rest of the period. Into the second, Cole Caulfield ties it up. It's the same guys on the Canadians that break them too. Caulfield, Suzuki. Those two guys always. And that anyway, so he gets one here. Slavkovsky and Gulli, and I'm sure his father Sven was in the stands, very proud of what he'd done. And then, oh my God, then the worst of the worst here. You thought 5 shots against 21 was bad. This was pretty bad too. Caps get another power play. I want to say about 12 minutes in. All right. So Rasmus Sandin is at the point. He's doing something with it. I don't know. He's playing with it like it's a Rubik's Cube or something. Then he bobbles it. Then he loses it. Josh Anderson picks it up, takes it all the way down the ice, and puts it past Charlie Lindgren. No. Charlie at this time was actually out. I don't want to miss that. Charlie was actually out of this game, and we'll get to more of that in a second. But he put it past Logan Thompson, who had to come in for Charlie because of the injury. No chance. And as I've said, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Don't ever give up a shorthanded goal, especially not in a close game. What did they do? And what happened? 13:22 of the second, so they're behind. For once, Caps didn't let it get to them too badly, because 1:54 in the third.
Tiger.
Thank goodness for Tiger. He's great. But even greater, well, not even greater. Goals are always great. But just as great was the way this set up. So Taylor Radish squibbed the puck, and it went off of a Canadiens defender all the way down to the other end of the ice. And then, so Ethan Frank, who had been called up for the game, used his speed to negate the icing and recover the puck behind the net, and found Eller for the snapper in front of the net to tie the game. Welcome to the NHL.
100%. It was beauty. Beauty.
And not to spoil anything, but you gotta love the Frank's Red Hot commercial. That's what I think of whenever, especially when the guy's wiener gets fingered out of the bun. You got to frank it up. And that's the way it would stay on the remaining 18 minutes of the period. So to overtime we go again. So third game in a row, they go to overtime. Third game in a row, they play good enough to tie the frickin' game for 60 minutes. And then what I say, Nick Suzuki killed us, Cole Caulfield, and Lane Hudson, who is probably going to give himself a concussion one of these days with all those head fakes he does. On the assists, put it away, 115. Caps in this one, if you're interested in stats, got 17 shots on goal. That's right, 17. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's all you can say. I
17 and none in overtime.
No. Like if we were looking at this, a couple weeks ago or so, we would have looked at that second period and been like, the fuck, you cannot win games shooting 4 times or having 4 shots on goal in the second period. This just sucked. This just sucked. And this was a concern about going into these 4 games with teams that have lower winning percentage, and like, again, we're never going to be like, oh, we've got this, but really?
They don't
Come
got
on now.
this.
No, like this just like, all of a sudden we're just in like, I don't even know what to call it. It's just a bit of a clusterfuck right now. And we need to really fix this and soon. And I wish I could be like, oh, the next game we're going to talk about is perfect example of, what we should do. It's like, is it though? Because I'll let you get into that and then we'll talk about it, I guess.
Well, right. So, yeah. So, good segue in that, yes. I would like to say that this next game was more like the Caps can play. I would like to say that. To some extent it was, but only to a small extent. But for the most part, it was not. And I will also preview this game by saying, believe it or not, 17 shots on goal in the Montreal game. This game, they actually had less.
No, they didn't. Oh my gosh.
No.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
Oh my God. Sorry. Oh, shit.
They actually had
God.
less. But they managed to win the game.
Still ugly win. Come on.
Uglier than Jason Voorhees without his hockey mask.
Agree on that one.
Terrible.
Yes. Yay for the captain, but I don't even think he probably would want to be like, oh, remember that Nashville game?
Oh, I'm sure he's pissed.
Yeah, I would be.
I'm sure he's not happy.
And again, here's a team that doesn't even have a fantastic record. Obviously, they came out immediately. We showed up third period. Stop it already. Stop it already. I'm fucking over it.
Nashville,
the coach is over it.
Yeah. They acted like for the full 60 minutes, they wanted to win this game.
100%. They came out. They were pissed. We don't have that fire. Like, if you're some shit team or you're like, oh, we've got so many losses, or, oh, we're going into this. You want to come in and just be like, oh my God, out for the kill. Like, balls to the wall, whatever, phrase you want to use. But my God, our team has not shown that And it's really, that's what's frustrating me. And I don't know if you're on the same wavelength or not, but I'm tired of seeing puck drop and other teams just showing, they're fast, they're coming out, they're making smart plays. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And we're like, not so much. And it takes a little bit. No, we need to start coming out immediately. Like, there should not be any like, I don't want to waste my energy or whatever's going on in their head. We need to nip that, because this is not a good I don't even know what you want to call it. We don't want to continue with this vibe at all.
No. The pattern of play they've been on
The pattern,
is
thank you.
a gigantic pile of no bueno, and has been
Right.
for going on at least 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
And
don't you think they could have really done something with these 4 games this week to say, like, you know what, listen, it doesn't matter where we rank. Let's go out, let's do it, and let's get into a groove, and let's get into whatever it is to take, and almost like a practice, like, get into it. But God, they don't get into it until 15, 30 minutes into it, and it's like, the fuck are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I like banking the points, but I would almost rather they lose in regulation by
Yeah.
1 or 2 and played their best as they could, as hard as they could
Yeah.
for 55, 60 minutes or whatever.
Right.
I'd almost rather they did that than what this week was. And we kind of expected this, but we were hoping not. And yeah, this is pretty much what I was expecting how it would turn out.
The 50, like 2
The
for 4.
50-50, yeah, the 50-50, the lack of shots, the half-assed effort, all of that. And then I honestly thought they would outright, they flat out lose. I'm a little surprised they got points. I would thought they would have flat out lost. I was very surprised they came out with a point against Buffalo and Montreal, because they both acted like they wanted to win.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, let's go over the scoring real quick. Oh, looky here. Who gets the first goal again? And on a power play. Oh, okay. I will say something nice here about the Caps. Tom Wilson with another power play goal. I say that like I'm bored.
Better say
I'm not
something
bored.
nice.
What's that?
You better say something nice.
Well, I mean, I sound bored when I say that. I swear to God, I will never ever be tired of a Tom Wilson power play goal, especially when it's the first one of the game. And the captain and Strome are assisting on this one. But before the game, they kind of did a stat profile on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd gotten up out of my chair. I had to go to the bathroom. I'd gotten up out of my chair, and I saw the numbers out of the corner of my eye. I stopped before I go, and I looked at that, and it's like, he has 8 power play goals this season. That was before the start of this game. He has 8 power play. I knew he was doing well. I didn't know he was doing that well. I didn't know he had that many.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, there's one bright spot. Maybe they can build on that and hope, and thank God they did. But it just goes to show, you just never know when you hear good things about, you can hear good things about your team's PP on the way of going to PP. And when
nobody wants to use that example, Gil.
Well, I mean,
no, we're not two.
I wasn't going to explicitly talk about Tom Wilson's PP prowess.
I could, but just kidding.
Not going to go there.
Kid family show. Okay.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
We'll try to be.
Anywho.
So all the way until, well, pretty much halfway through the game, was the first goal. 9:03 of the second period. And then Caps had to go on the PK themselves, not Subban, but the penalty kill. And Philip Forsberg, yes, that name is a sore spot for a lot of us. I get it. His 11th, Marchessault and Roman Josi with the assists on that one. So tie game all the
I
way
hate
through
Marchessault.
we all do.
He's just a punk.
Yeah.
But yay, third period, first goal.
Yay, third period antics from the team, especially this one that would turn out to be the game winner. Okay, let me lay this one out for you. So Ferravati starts the rush by digging it out of the corner over to Roy. Roy finds that guy again, not Tom Wilson this time, but you got to frank it up. Ethan Frank streaking out of the neutral zone and stopping in time at the Nashville blue line, and Roy hits him with a nice pass. Now Frank kind of bobbled it a bit, but did this spin move where he actually passed it to himself off the boards all in one motion, and then broke past the defender, and then still with all the momentum in the world, his speed carried him through, got to the top of the circle, and wrists it past UC Saros for a beautiful goal at 8:30. And this would turn out to be the game winner, his very first goal in his NHL career. So
fantastic for him. Oh my God.
Good. 2 games.
Because you know what? Didn't he? I mean, I hate this may sound super cheesy to say, but I felt like he's just giddy to be back, to be called up, and it was like, oh my God, there's one game and there's this game, and he just had this, I'm going to do anything and I'm going to prove you guys, and he did. And it was just awesome to see, and I'm freaking I still do love Roy.
And he's providing this energy, but I don't want to be a downer, but I think it's going to take a lot more than that. I do like the fact that his speed is helping things, and I think it's bringing an element that they still kind of lack a little bit. It may well
I'm
be
just saying, it's just you can't help but just feel excited for someone that gets their first NHL goal. But I just felt like he came in like, hell yeah, I'm ready. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And he wasn't out there, there wasn't like that, stupid mistake, but that, that happens. I really feel like, he's doing his best, whether we see him in the next couple of games or not. It was a good, just as a Caps fan, it was a good way to see.
It was great to see, for sure.
Yeah.
Great to see, a young-ish guy, make the most of his shot. Now, I think he will. I don't know how much longer he'll last.
Right.
I have a bad feeling. I have a bad feeling he's going to end up another Joe Snively type of casualty.
I hope not, but God,
I hope not. But
I kind of feel that way too.
I kind of feel like that's his fate. But for now, let's enjoy what he can offer, and that'll be. This was definitely great. It definitely energized the team, as can be seen in how the rest was played. Now, this third period, as I said, to preview this game, Caps got less total shots, still one less, 16 total, but they got half of them in this period.
Yeah,
8 shots on goal this period. That's good, or better. 1454, Andrew Mangiapane, his 10th, Duhaime and Carlson on the assists on that one. And then, of course, the Capitan ices it once again in the magical McNugget minute. His 20th, and of course, got to say, his 20th straight season with 20 or more goals, ties the great Gordie Howe, of course. Has to be said. So 1901. So McNuggets and pizza for everybody today. Hope you enjoyed it. So, of course, Papa John's pizza when he scores and the McNugget minute goal. So hopefully everybody ate really, really bad today.
Right.
Um, so yeah, ended up being a 4-1 win for our Caps. But again, yet another game that matched the pattern of taking way too long to get going overall, careless in puck management, and over reliance on the goalie.
Yep.
One of those three things I mentioned for sure last week or the week before. Now, this was actually got to give credit to Logan Thompson, and thank God there was no creek in this Thompson, because he actually had to start again
Yeah.
from being in the game before,
Right.
as I mentioned, because he had to fill in due to Charlie's injury, and that's I don't know. I hope he's back within the week. He's officially on IR, which means 1 week minimum.
Right.
But it could be
But
longer.
I don't think Hunter Shepard was ready to
I don't think he was either.
was ready.
No,
It's just no. I
but
mean,
I
he's
think
amazing, but he was definitely not ready to play up against the Predators, and I think the score would have definitely been different. So, yes, hats off to Thompson, 100%.
yeah, he definitely helped things greatly. But again, they're relying on their goalies to bail them out too much. Never want to do that. And their offense is taking way too long to get going.
Yeah,
And
way too long.
And they're not taking control of games. That's probably the one characteristic I'm not liking at all.
Right.
Whereas earlier in the year, sometimes they would fall behind and then take over a game, or sometimes they would just lock it down, limit the other team's chances, and do it that way. And that's fine, but I, for one, haven't seen any of that, very little of that, these last 2-3 weeks, and I'm sorry, it's concerning. I don't know if they're just kind of taking a mental break from things. I don't know if it's they've just played too much hockey in too little time,
Right.
and they're maybe mentally, if not physically, fried. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And Coach Carberry himself even said so much as he's quote unquote becoming impatient with this team. Well,
Hmm.
a word of advice. I've never been been paid to coach a team. I just pretend to do so on a podcast. But a word of advice, though, don't let that feeling of impatience take over,
Right.
because
Don't
it's
make impulsive
always
moves.
exactly. It's always when you do something out of fear or out of emotion or out of a sense of urgency or out of something you're not supposed to be feeling, something where
Yep.
you let that and not rational thought dictate your choices. That's when you're screwed. That's when you end up
Absolutely.
screwing yourself. And I
Yep.
don't want to see that. So,
No.
now going forward, real quick, we'll run down the next set of opponents. Next week, Tuesday the 14th, back home, it's against Anaheim, 7:00 puck drop. Then up to Ottawa for a game against Senators at Canadian Tire, 7:00 there. And then back home for a tilt with Pittsburgh Saturday night, the 18th. Yeah, that's an interesting set of games there. And then it's the Western road trip. It's the Western/Canadian road trip for the rest of January. So stops in Edmonton, Seattle, Vancouver, Calgary, and Ottawa to finish out January. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting mix of games there. see how they match up against those teams. Yeah, this game, the week ended on a high. The game ended on a high. I don't think the problems are anywhere near fixed, though. I'm sorry, they're not.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
It's hard to figure out which team is going to show up, and I get that they still managed to bank points. So we had a possible 8 this week. They earned 6. All right, not bad. And if we look at the standings, yes, conveniently enough, we're a little over the halfway mark. So 28, 10, and 5, 61 points. Oh, looky here, we're in contention for Grandma's ashtray.
Right.
That ugly ass trophy.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Hard to say you're in a slump when you're still banking points and you've got one of the best, if not the best, points percentages in the league. But I'm not liking, for the most part, what I'm seeing. I'm not liking it, and it's gonna bite them in the butt. And if these are habits that linger and make an appearance come playoff time, then it's going to be a very short playoffs. And do we want that? No. Getting swept was nice and funny when it was a team last year that everybody said wasn't supposed to be there, and minus 37 goal differential and all that. Okay, that's fine. A joke is a joke is a joke, but this team is no joke. It's not supposed to be a joke this year, so it ain't funny anymore. And that's why, if you think I'm taking this a little too seriously, somebody told me I was overthinking things. Somebody said I was being hypercritical. I'm sorry. I don't think I am. They're not quite a contender yet, but they're on their way there.
Right.
I want to see this team do some damage in the playoffs, but this team that's on the ice right now, the way they're playing, they're not gonna.
No.
And that's what
It's
I'm
not
concerned
consistent,
about.
and it's not 60 minutes, and what it comes down to.
And if you show up like that come late April, you're not going to last very long.
Nope. Not that we're losing faith. We're not losing faith in the team.
No.
We're just hoping for, a little, couple little changes, a couple little ass kicking in the locker room, and let's get this shit going. Enough already.
Yeah. Now, some of you may disagree with us, but I, for one, I don't speak for Anna, but I, for one, think it's got to come from within. Some of you out there may think, okay, well, maybe another trade is in order. Maybe they got to wheel and deal for somebody. Me, no. I think the chemistry is good enough.
Yes.
But I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that think otherwise. Now, there was also another opinion raised in the chat room that said, okay, well, a trade would be nice, but there's really nobody out there that can address the team's needs. And I agree with that. I don't see anybody out there that they can deal for that is, worth the risk of, say, dealing out a high round draft pick and,
Right.
and getting, gambling on that. So,
Right.
But anyway, I want to quote some good things that my friend Stacy Cleek said about the team, and just to show that there are some good things going on here. Said Protus is amazing. Frank, what a great debut. Marty has been effing shut down. I know we're losing the points, but I'm not worried yet. We're going to right the ship. Feels good about Carbs. That's Spencer Carberry, of course. And yeah, still lots of good to this team. Still lots to be optimistic about.
Absolutely.
But I just overall, I haven't liked what I'm seeing, and I think I'm not any expert, but I think some sort of change is in order here, and they've tried mixing up the lines. They've tried all of that. Hopefully, Ethan Frank will provide something of a spark. I don't think him by himself though is going to do it. This is why I'm not paid to coach, and Spencer Carberry is. I'm confident though that he will figure something out.
Oh, absolutely. But the
So
fact that we see him, like you said, not sugarcoating anything at the end of terrible games and calling things out. And that's just when the camera's there. So, of course, like, we don't know what happens, when it's the real deal. And I wouldn't be surprised, he's got a lot to say, and he sees it, we see it. So, come on. I'm just saying, we at the beginning were so like, this team is great. Like, at some point we were going to hit this, and now we hit it. And now we just need to get out of this little, it's not even a slump. It's just it's a bump in the road. And we need to get out of it, continue onto the smooth sailing. They will get there. This is going to come. I mean, it's going to happen. It happens with every team, but it's just a matter of how long you're to let it go for. And I think that, I think at this point they know who's doing what they're fucking supposed to do on the ice and who isn't, and it's like, okay, you either step up or you don't, and you're either on the roster or you're not, kind of thing. So yeah, so it's like I'm at the stage where it's like, okay, this, I was hoping better, wins, not 2 for 4, but whatever. It could have been worse, and now we move forward and see what happens.
for sure. I'm raising a concern here. I'm not panicking. I'm raising a concern. I happen to
Yeah,
think it's because it's lasted really since before the Christmas break that I've seen this pattern of behavior.
right.
So it's been going on for the better part of almost a month now, if you think about it. More
But
than a
isn't
month,
that
because
like everyone who jumped on the whole, like, oh, but they're a second half team, and oh, they're gonna come back, and that was our biggest fear, was like, stop saying that as a good thing. Like, they can't constantly be saying, oh, we'll come back in the third. Oh, we've got this. We'll come back. It's like, no, fucking go out there and play your 60 minutes.
exactly. And it just feels like they're kind of holding back.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, I guess they've earned it. This sounds really weird to say. I guess they've in some way earned the right to coast for a little bit, but it's been over a month now.
Yeah.
December for them, yeah, it was mostly a winning month, but it was easily their most ass month so far this season compared to October and November.
Right.
Okay, and regular seasons are where bad habits breed. And that kind of crap can carry over into the playoffs. And I keep saying it. All I care about is the playoffs at this point, making them and
Right.
doing well in them. Regular season, it doesn't matter. Now, fortunately, I saw a tweet somewhere that said even if they play 500 hockey, they can still bank probably 98, 99 points if they do that.
Okay.
That's nice, but I want them to at least bank enough for home ice the first round. That'd be
Right.
nice. So standings points are nice, but I want them do what they got to do to fix this problem. And let's be honest with ourselves. It's a problem. They need to fix. It's not. I don't know if it's a system problem or an approach problem, but they have a problem with being consistent between games. That's what they need to fix above all others. There's little tweaks in between that they're going to have to figure out as part of that, but the overall it's that how they approach all of their games. That is head and shoulders the biggest problem they got, and they need to fix that.
Agree.
Because if they don't, then April's going to get here. I'm telling you, April's going to get here quicker than you think, and then it'll be the first round of the playoffs.
Right.
And that is why, more often than not, that's why, and you're not prepared for it. That's why a lot of teams go out in the first round that shouldn't.
Right.
So, but that was pretty much it. Anna, did you have anything else to add?
I did not.
Okay, well, then this is going to be a good place to stop for this episode. So thanks if you've managed to put up with us this far for this episode. We will be covering the 3 games that I mentioned on next week's episode. And again, our best wishes and prayers and vibes to both the victims of the Southern California wildfires and to Craig Laughlin and his family for what they're all going through. All right, so going to lock it down for another episode. So for Anna Knox, the Mermaid, this is the Blue Liner on Point signing off and reminding you that, well, a lot of you made a New Year's resolution to try and lose weight. Well, so did I. And I keep trying and trying, but, well, it's winning the game of hide and seek because it keeps finding me. Hallelujah, and let's go, Caps.
Go Caps.
This has been another episode of the Power Play Point Podcast. All episodes are available from Apple Podcasts, the Podbean app, blueliner77.podbean.com, and now available from Stitcher. Music by Joe McAllister, voiceover by Jeffrey Conkle.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Power Play Point Podcast. Thanks for listening.